All right. I got Brock Bassels here from Steel and Ink in Barrie, Ontario. What's up, my man?
What up? What up?
Not much, buddy. You been doing good or what?
Yeah, man, doing all right. Trying to keep
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah. Business is doing good for you in your end of town, even though we're in the same town, different shops.
Yeah, it's doing well. We were lucky enough after the quarantine let up that once we were able to open again, yeah, we were lucky enough to get booked up nice and quick. Didn't skip a beat really, and yeah, it's going well.
That's good, man. It's good to hear. I know, like us, we're like, what, 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away from each other. And
Yeah.
we're same thing with us. We're like by appointment only, anyways, right? All of us, and we're doing pretty
Mhm.
good too, man. Um, basic protocols, I guess, goes for every shop right now and in whatever region, but in Barrie, it's, same old shit, right? The masks and, no unnecessary people hanging around the shop. Just kind of got an appointment, you come in and it's pretty much it, man. You do your screening and shit, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. So piercing, how's the pandemic like been affecting your piercing? I don't mean to jump right into the whole pandemic thing, but whatever. We're on the topic already, eh? Just but fuck.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's an unavoidable topic, really. I mean, as far as the pandemic goes, I always operate what the health unit expects, where I try to sit constantly. I look at the health unit guidelines essentially as a bare minimum and always try to operate above. And, I mean, with the pandemic, really the only difference is now everybody's got to wear a mask in the shop. Um, we bumped the walls up, the 4 foot walls that we had separating the tattoo stations from the lobby up to 6 feet. But other than that, in the masks, it seemingly has been business as usual, except with the restrictions and everything, no services under the mask, so no nose piercings, no oral piercings. You know, following what the Ministry of Health expects of us, and yeah, just playing it safe, not offering any services under the mask at all, so that way nobody has to remove their mask during a procedure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
How's that affected
people.
like you yourself as the piercer with your clientele, like not being able to basically do anything mouth or basically the face essentially, right? Like you're allowed doing brows and stuff or
Yeah, essentially, what the health unit has laid out for us is that when the mask is on, it can't be removed or altered for any service whatsoever right now with the current restrictions. So, as long as the mask is on, anything that is kind of above the restricted zone of the mask is acceptable. Ears, you know, I just kind of shift the mask strap behind the ear when I
yeah.
do the piercing to make sure that no needles passing through the strap. I'm sure everybody saw that viral TikTok video of some piercer piercing a girl's mask to her ear.
No, I never
So
saw that. Really? That's an actual thing?
straight up, man, if you Google it, there is a video of a girl losing her mind. I'm pretty sure it was a conch piercing that she got done, but whoever the piercer was that did it actually did the piercing, passed the jewelry through, and it's straight through the mask strap.
Dude, I'm
And
wondering you can is it on YouTube?
uh, somebody showed it to me on TikTok when they came into the shop for their appointment, and we had a good laugh about it. But uh, you know,
Oh,
the
there's
mask strap,
I'm looking right here. It's a girl
yeah,
accidentally has mask pierced into ear.
that's the one.
Pink hair?
I think so. Yeah.
Uh I kind of want to pull it up. It's only 45 seconds long.
I mean, from what I saw, the video that the client showed me, it was funny. And, I mean, the whole piercing with the mask on thing is something every piercer is going to have to get used to. And,
At least for
those
now,
mask
anyway.
straps, exactly. The mask straps and where they sit on the back of the ear is something that now has to be taken into consideration. And
Well, here's the thing though, like with us tattooing, we're technically not supposed to be tattooing behind the ears or, anywhere in that region either, but like
yeah,
essentially the neck area, right? Even though the mask isn't sitting down there, but you see on social media, you see on Instagram, all these art, at least I do, because I follow all these artists, right? You
yeah,
see plenty of artists uploading, new neck tattoo or, that comes up behind the fucking ear and, in this area. So like, I really don't know if it goes by region, like country, region, province, whatever the fuck, if it's, if they have all certain guidelines of tattooing in those areas where the mask would be, right? But
yeah. I mean, from what I understand, it's the government and the Ministry of Health, they've kind of broken it down by region and caseload, and the areas where the numbers keep going up, they get heavier restrictions, and the areas that have their numbers low have a little bit more leniency from what I've seen and understand, kind of based on what was laid out to us. With Simcoe County getting bumped up. And now, those restrictions that they've got out on us now is no services under the mask. But,
yeah.
Prior to the new restrictions that came out, I guess last week or the week before, services under the mask were okay across the board, be it a tattoo shop, a spa, a hair salon, being able to trim beards. All of that
How's
was
that working
okay.
right now too with the whole beard thing? I guess that falls under the same thing now, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. With the new restrictions, across the board, like not just us with the
Everybody's all
tattoo
bushy
shop and the
here and nice and
piercing.
fucking trimmed up over here, right?
Exactly
Jeez.
right. I was at Walmart last night, and the beard trimmers are sold out.
Yeah, I
At
know.
least at the North End Walmart.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Right?
Yeah. Um, so anyway, as people watching this, I don't know, some people are going to know, but some people are not going to know, obviously, that you and I have a
Yeah.
history. We used to work together. We've known each other for going on 15 years now, right? 14 years, something
Yeah,
like that.
man.
Back at the Lucky Ducky days, Lucky Devil. And
Little known fact that you've got my face tattooed on your leg, unless you've covered it up since.
no, I have not. I told you I would not cover it, and I still have it. So I'm a man of my
Amazing.
word. I'm a man of my word. And yeah, man, it's been 15 years, like I said. It was we
Yeah,
were
at
just
least.
actually talking about this the episode I recorded with Chris Smith. We were talking about the Lucky Devil days too, and it's I don't mean to bring it up so much and so frequently, but
Yeah.
this is obviously a topic, because you guys that I'm interviewing, this is where we started, with each other anyway. This is how we got to know each other and where we got to know each other. And we just kind of shot the shit about some things that went on, and the history we have with each other from back then as well, right? So
yeah, for sure.
yeah, man. So you recently started coming to my shop, and you're getting tattoos, some work done by Kyle. Is it
Yeah.
Kyle or Jamie? I think it's Kyle, right?
Kyle tattooed my shin and did that cover up blast over thing to get rid of that god awful clown I had on my shin.
Oh man, I remember that.
I hated it, and luckily now it's gone. One more pass, it should be completely gone.
Cool.
I will be, I'll be back there soon. Jamie's got that thing drawn up for me, the hyena. So
That'll be cool.
hopefully sooner than later I can get in there and get that done.
Yeah, we'll talk to him. I'm sure he'll contact you for sure. I actually have to contact your mom. I got a couple messages from her not too long ago about her appointment, and then I'm replying back, and it's saying message cannot be sent. And then, but I'm like, what the hell? So I'm sending messages to everybody else, and they're working. And I don't have iPhones or anything. I have an Android, right? So it's not an iMessage. So I'm like, what the hell? And then I haven't heard shit back. So I don't know if she's like, fuck this guy, and I don't know. I got to get a hold of her somehow. She doesn't have Facebook anymore, so
yeah, I'm actually gonna text you her contact info right now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, do that.
Cause yeah, I think I got a sit coming up at the end of January.
Mhm.
With Kyle on my back,
Yep.
and yeah, I know she was wanted to try to get in the same day if she could, but we'll make a whole day of it.
Yeah, yeah, apprenticeship. So you're obviously a piercer. I'm a tattoo artist. Same style
Indeed.
industry. They're all one essentially. So
Yeah.
apprenticeships for you. How would they be different from a tattoo apprenticeship? You've been around long enough in the industry, obviously, to know how a tattoo apprenticeship works, right? You've seen them happen
19 years
firsthand.
next month.
You got it. So how does that differ from
Um,
a piercing one?
I mean, with the piercing apprenticeship, I find like when I decide to take somebody on as an apprentice, I kind of feel it out. Like after being in the industry for as long as we have, when you get talking to people, you can kind of feel that out and gauge, if people are interested in pursuing it because they have a passion for it, or if they are trying to pursue it because they think it's, something cool to do, or, it's a one-off for the time being. If I don't feel that, not to sound like, an elitist asshole, but yeah, in this industry, it's all about knowledge passed down from mentor to somebody that has a genuine passion for it.
Yeah.
And, that's something that I feel is in recent years kind of getting lost with, the whole tattoo schools and, pay a lump of money to somebody and they'll give you a 2-week crash course and, a certificate that
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything in Ontario. And, that's something that I feel like in this industry is slowly getting lost. And I feel that it's super important to maintain that aspect of the industry, being it piercing or tattooing, with tattoo apprenticeships back in the day, you went in, you learned how to, scrub tools, clean, cross contamination prevention,
Yeah, that shit
and
almost
beyond
doesn't
that.
exist anymore almost now because a lot of shops are going fully disposable, right? With everything being pre-sterile in the packages from these supply companies.
Well, exactly, and like
Like you used to cut your
it,
own needles, right? I remember back at the devil days, you used to go
yeah,
get your needles and you used to pre-cut them and then sterilize them and so on and so forth, do all that kind of stuff. But you
yeah,
like doing
man.
that kind of
Even
shit.
piercing, yeah, there was that period of time where you couldn't just call up the supply company and order, pre-cut, pre-sterilized piercing needles. So we'd have to get the hub needles and Dremel them down, smooth them out so there's no barbs or burrs on them. And that's a section of the industry that I feel is slowly kind of disappearing with the pre-packaged, ready to go stuff,
Mhm.
similar to, with the tattooing. When's the last time you met somebody who knows how to make their own tattoo needles instead of just calling up and ordering cartridges or pre-sterilized black box?
Dude, I haven't heard anybody recently, fucking the last 5 years, about anything about them making their own, soldering their own needles together and putting them onto the needle bar and throwing them into the needle jig,
Yeah,
any of that kind of shit. I think that's all lost. I'm sure there's still artists out there and or piercers, making their needles, cutting their needles, doing their thing, and
for sure.
using the ultrasonics and all this other shit, the autoclaves and stuff. But I think for the most part, with these industries, the industries supply companies, it's kind of getting rid of all that stuff, right? It's kind of making it obsolete, taking all that work away from us, which does make our job easier. But with people that are learning, like
Yeah.
teaching apprentices, for instance, like that's gone. I can't teach my apprentices that because there's nothing there to fucking teach them. I can sit there and talk about it all day long about, hey man, I used to fucking, have to make 50 to 100 needles a day, needle jig, blah, 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 give them the whole fucking rundown, the whole story. And
Well, I mean, even
that's
me,
gone. That's gone.
like you said, I'm a piercer, and I know how to make tattoo needles.
Yeah.
That was, an aspect of my apprenticeship being, again, next month will be 19 years.
Yeah. That's insane, bud. You know what?
It
It's
blows
just,
my mind. But, 19 years ago, when I started my apprenticeship, it wasn't just, I wasn't just going into the shop and, the person who taught me how to pierce was, the be all and end all in the shop. It was when I went in, anything that needed to get done got done. And that was on me, tattoo tubes needed to be scrubbed, sterilized, processed. That was me. They had me cutting the piercing needles, running them through the ultrasonic to remove any of the potential dust or fibers from it. But then on top of that, it was also my responsibility if the tattooers needed needles. I'm in the back with the soldering iron and the needles and the jigs and the needle bars, like putting everything together.
yeah. With an eye loop,
And,
making sure everything's good. There's no
exactly.
barbed needles. Yeah.
Exactly. That was, I didn't show up at a tattoo shop with a pocket full of cash and say, here's my money, throw it down on the table. And, I want to learn, let me pay you. It was, somebody that I respected within the industry that used to work on me, took a chance on me. And, him and I had a conversation once about, he started young, and even now, I just turned 34 last week.
Yeah.
And
Happy belated, by the way.
thank you.
I'm pretty sure I wish you happy birthday on Facebook, though.
Yeah. You sent me a message.
Just for the record.
For the record, Andrew did reach out and wish me the happy birthday. But, the guy who taught me how to pierce also started young. I started my apprenticeship. I was like 15 years old. I was in high school, and, 9 out of 10 wouldn't give you a second look. But the guy who taught me started when he was young and had that understanding of, a passion for the craft and wanting to learn it. And nobody took him seriously when he was young. So he kind of paid it forward. Whereas, I was somebody who was young, looking to get into the industry. Nobody would take me seriously. And, he did. He rolled the dice. He took a chance and made the most of it that I could.
When's the last time you had an apprentice?
Probably 2 years ago. And even now, with the availability of all the pre-sterilized tools that we can use and the pre-sterilized needles and stuff, I still teach my apprentices how to cut their own needles. And
do they still sell that
like,
shit? They still those are like catheter needles essentially, aren't they?
No, it's just like the standard hubbed injection needles.
Oh, what's the catheter needles for? Those are for what are they called? Conchers or dermal punches?
Well, I mean, like the catheters, some people use catheters for Prince Alberts.
Yeah, what the hell was the one in your ear? You take a big chunk out of the cartilage of your ear.
They dermal punch the biopsy scalpel.
Those things. Okay, that's what I was trying to think of because I watched that being done a few times. And then that little piece of skin going ice cold and shriveling up. Crazy shit.
Yeah.
So the piercing industry itself has changed drastically from when I got into the tattoo industry years ago. When I got into it, man, the fucking piercings were booming. you guys were busy as shit. Generally busier than the tattoo artist, man, for the most part. Um, it's changed. It's obviously slowed down, I think, and I don't know if that goes by, because of where we live, the people here. I have no idea, but what do you think about it? You think it's been dying down a lot, or just a little bit, or what?
I mean, honestly, for the most part, I feel like the piercing industry hasn't died down. It's changed and it's shifted. Whereas, again, like 19 years ago, you came into the shop, you want, you want to get your belly button pierced. It's, yeah, sign the paperwork, you pay your fee, and you sit in the chair and you get your belly button pierced. Whereas now, um, with so many more jewelry companies offering high quality, fully autoclavable, um, fancier options, you don't have to come in and just get that 14 gauge CBR tossed in your belly button, the surgical steel on steel CBR with the bead. You don't got to deal with the little curved barbell with just the two steel beads on it.
Yeah, you're very
And
limited
now,
back then to what you could get, essentially.
for sure, and now with more jewelry companies offering a higher quality of options that are fully autoclavable, like Swarovski doing the gems in the naval jewelry. Those things are fully autoclavable. It's not, you don't have to worry about those plastic gems getting put in the autoclaves and, changing how they look when they come out, or, being less shiny or fully,
So,
rupturing in there.
so that being said, with you got more options now with fancier jewelry, obviously the prices have changed. Every piercer is different. I guess every shop's different, maybe
Yeah,
on what they charge for your base piercing, right up to a specialty piercing. But
for sure.
I mean, like if you take a base piercing 10 years ago worth, say, X amount of dollars, is that base piercing now with a fancier piece of jewelry obviously is going to cost a little bit more because now our overhead as shop owners is going to be higher, right? So we're going to want to
I
charge
mean,
more
yes and
essentially.
no. I find that, me personally, um, the price that I charge to pierce a belly button is the exact same as what I charged 10 years ago to pierce a belly button. The only difference is now you get the option where if you want a nicer piece of jewelry and you want the fancy piece of jewelry, you can just pay the difference.
Okay,
So
so
instead of
it's
having
not
to,
you still have the option to use the older, like just basic jewelry or the good stuff, essentially the
oh
better.
yeah, for sure,
Okay, okay.
for sure, everybody gets that option. Where you can still use that same standard piece of jewelry, but at the end of the day, now with a more of unavailability of the nicer options, people don't have to do that, little piece of jewelry that doesn't look exactly how they want it to look right off the hop. Whereas, you know, now they can get that, little sparkly Swarovski crystal piece in their belly button. And instead of, throwing that surgical steel piece in, now they can do that implant grade titanium, which, you know, your body's going to heal it better because it doesn't recognize it as a foreign object. Titanium's got a lesser rejection rate than steel, hands down, and it's just a higher quality metal. So with the higher quality options available for people, they can have their piercing look how they want it to from day one. They don't have to wait, 8 weeks, 6 months, 3 months, however long to get that piece of jewelry put in their piercing so they can have it look the way they want. They can show it off from the first day that they get it. And aside from aesthetically being a, a nicer option. The ability for your body to heal the piercing with less hiccups, snags, or potential hiccups during the healing process is lesser with the higher quality jewelry. And it's awesome now that there's so many jewelry companies that offer so many different styles and options, and
So do you think,
everybody can really make what they want as unique as they want with there's hundreds of options. Even at our shop, you come in, again, I'm going to use the navel as an example. You want to come in, you want to get your belly button pierced. I got 30 different options for navel jewelry.
yeah,
When you come in, you can go from your surgical steel up to the titanium, straight up to an 18 karat gold BZLA set with genuine diamonds and opals, and essentially you can kind of pick your price point.
yeah.
So I feel like within the industry, the service fee hasn't really inflated over the years. The only difference now is you can kind of pick your price point and get the piece of jewelry that you want and have your piercing look exactly how you want from the get-go.
Well, that's crazy, man. That's you'd think just because of the overhead, I guess, because you're paying a little bit more, right? But so now, do you,
For sure.
with all this being said, with everything advancing with your jewelry and all that other stuff, do you
Yeah.
see piercing like plateauing? Do you think it's plateaued, or do you think like there's, because you got like the suspensions and stuff, right? People that do all that kind of shit too.
Yeah,
I mean that essentially falls in the same category as piercing, right?
for
um,
sure.
but do you think there's more to it? Do you think that there ever will be? Or what would you like to see, man? Like I asked Chris this too, like where he saw the tattoo industry going and stuff. And
I mean, I find with piercing, there's not really like a plateau. There's, those periods through time where it'll be specific piercings that spike in interest and spike in popularity. And then some of the other ones kind of taper off. And then as time goes forward, they kind of go full circle and they come back. But I find with the piercing industry, as long as you grow with it and don't get stuck in the old methods, understand that there's not just one way to do this. There's tons of different ways to do a piercing, heal a piercing, again, jewelry options, metal qualities.
Well, not one way is the right way. It's the same with aftercare for tattooing, right? Like there's
Exactly.
different ways to take care of it. I guess some artists are different than others, obviously. And it doesn't mean that person's right with his. Like there can be a few different people that are right, but there's plenty of wrong
Exactly.
ways to take care of your tattoo and or piercing.
For sure. And, I mean, I've always said, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not going to sit here and say that, what I do is crazy extraordinary. And yeah, there's plenty of people that have the ability to do a piercing properly and heal it well. But what I find to be what kind of sets piercers apart is the client experience, where if you come in and you feel comfortable with me and you want to come back, you want to tell your friends to come back, you want to bring your friends in, that bond with your clients is what's going to set you apart. And as long as you are offering a service to your best ability, highest ability that you can, and in the safest environment possible, and always make sure that everything you do is to standard. Everything's got to be sterile, safe, single use, and you're good.
Yeah.
But what really sets people apart in this industry, I found, is your ability to make your client feel comfortable and give them that reassurance where it's needed. Where, when people come in, they're nervous, they're apprehensive, and
Well, it's up to us to make them feel, to take care of them essentially, right? They're in our hands. We're responsible for
exactly.
those people and making them feel, at home essentially and comfortable, and drop their anxiety levels, right? And which results in a good experience for them, and also results in, return business for us as well, right?
Well, exactly. And, there's sometimes people will come in and, I know that you have dealt with it. I've seen it firsthand with you as well as you've seen it with me. When customers come in and, sometimes, yeah, they're fucking terrified.
Yeah, yeah.
And, their level of anxiety is a little higher than usual. And what's going to set you apart from everybody else is your ability to kind of handle that, curb it, and make them feel comfortable. Like, you know, when somebody comes in and they're freaking out and they're losing it, you can get agitated and irritated and make that person feel more uncomfortable, or you can be a fucking human and understanding and know where that person's coming from and understand that you and I have both been in that position where we went into a tattoo shop before we were industry professionals. And there's that off the hop level of anxiety that you get when you're not used to being around that, that crowd or that kind of person, or what's going to happen. And, everybody's got to fucking start somewhere.
Yeah, well, dude,
And the
I still
last
like when I get
thing,
tattooed now, or piercing, I still fucking shit myself. I still get nervous, and my
oh, I hate
anxiety
it.
is still, yeah, yeah, exactly. I hate it, and
I hate it.
we're not so young anymore. We're not 20 anymore. We're not 15. We're not, whatever. So I mean, like I remember getting
Yeah.
tattooed by fucking one person one day, the next person the next day, and had like 6 healing tattoos on me. By the way, for the record, is not fucking good for your immune system or your fucking tattoo at all. But I remember, doing that shit, and
Yeah.
you look at it from like the client's point of view too. They're not industry professionals like us. They're not used to
Yeah.
the majority of them are not used to being around the tattoo industry full time, right? Like there's some people that are getting tattooed and or pierced all the time. So like their anxiety is probably different because they're intimidated, right? They're intimidated by the look of people with tattoos all over their fucking face, piercings all in their face. You know, that's
Well,
just the way.
exactly. And, like you can be an asshole and, be short tempered with people who come in, or you can be human and understanding that, like I said, everybody's got to start somewhere, man. And the way that I've always looked at, the way I've always looked at it from my professional standpoint is I don't want to be that asshole that turns somebody off of coming in and getting pierced or getting tattooed because I was a short tempered prick.
I mean, that's happened to
And
me.
yeah, and when people come in, they're coming in and they want to change their appearance and they want
Yeah.
something that's going to make them feel more comfortable with themselves. And you know the best thing that you can give a client when they come in is acceptance and understanding, and be that person that you know has patience with them, and remind yourself of the first time you got tattooed or the first time you got pierced, and have that patience with that client,
Yeah,
because that's going to go a long way and they're going to remember that for the rest of their lives, is
yep.
you were the person that while they were sitting there freaking out and pulling back, and that you didn't get agitated and you didn't get irritated and you were understanding, and that person is going to remember that for the rest of their lives, whether that's the only piercing or tattoo they ever get, or whether they decide that yes, this is something that they love and they want to keep getting it done. But I don't ever want to be the person that turns somebody off of this industry and being able to express themselves how they want to make themselves feel more comfortable, um, and
Not
more
every,
happy
not
with their
every.
appearance.
Yeah, I understand totally, 100%.
For sure.
But not every. person that comes through the door that wants our services makes it
Yeah.
easy on us either, right? Like again, we've got an amazing lifestyle that we live with what we do,
Hmm.
and we make the best of it, and the majority of people are just fucking awesome. Everybody turns out to be your friend and stuff. Not everybody, but a lot of people. But
For
we do
sure.
have those people along with every other industry out there, whether it's carpentry, whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
Not every person makes it easy for us to be nice and to be that person. No matter, we still have to remain professional no matter what. We still bite our tongues a lot. You know, like, no offense to any clients or any friends or anything like that, but there's been plenty of times where I'm just like, man, shut the fuck up for a minute. Let me fucking, dial you down a second, put you over here and basically say your idea is fucking trash. You know, I want to, probably more times than I should want to, but at the same time, we want to produce the best work that we can, and we know what we're capable of. And I've said this before in other podcasts, and I've said this before in person
Yeah.
too. There's other artists out there that will be more than willing and happy and hungry to take that piece. They want that stuff. And I'm not saying I don't want that shit because I'm too good for it or I'm better than you. It's just no, I don't want to, right? I would rather do something else that I'm excited about, tattoo, piercing, whatever, right? And
Well, and
that's
that's exactly it, right? Is the one thing that will always set you apart from those people that don't give a shit. That when you come in, somebody comes in and pitches you an idea that isn't going to age well and isn't going to work well, and they want a tattoo that's way too fucking small. You can get it, you can do it, and it'll look fine for the day, but in a year it's going to be a little blob of
yeah,
shit. And what sets you apart is when you have that ability to, like you said, it might not be something that you're stoked on, it might not be something that you necessarily want to do, but at the end of the day, I think what sets a good artist and a solid professional aside is your ability to relay that to a client and guide them to an end result that you can both be happy with and both be stoked on.
yeah, exactly. And again, don't get me wrong, I'm not allergic to money. And I know that,
Exactly.
I know there's a lot of artists that are allergic to money and a lot that aren't. But sometimes I don't mind. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, you know what? You want that little symbol on here, you want that word, on your wrist or whatever. You know what? Sure, it'll take me 10 minutes, you know. Let's let's do it. It only takes 10 minutes, but that 10 minutes it's still going to look great. You know what I mean? Just because it's not a tattoo that takes 10 hours, 5 hours, whatever,
Yeah.
it's still going to look good, right? But yeah, man, it's nuts. But another thing I wanted to ask you too was, I know that
Hmm.
you've actually tattooed me, that little bark face on you, the best guy
Yeah.
tattoo, and you've
Right.
tattooed it on many people. Have you ever, like back in the day, obviously, have you ever considered being a piercer and a tattoo artist? Were you ever offered that position?
I was. I was offered an apprenticeship to tattoo from a few solid tattooers that I've worked with, and I respectfully declined because personally I feel that when you're in this industry, there is, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was super common. If you tattooed, you pierced. If you pierced, you tattooed. It was,
Yeah.
you were all or nothing. And what I personally have felt about it, and I don't want to say have noticed kind of, evolution of industry, is there is now it's kind of one or the other, and I like it. And the reason for me that I didn't want to pursue tattooing professionally was, if you pierce and you tattoo, you are always going to enjoy one more than the other.
Fair enough.
You know, you tattoo, you dig it, you love it, that's your passion. Piercing's mine. At the end of the day, if you're not insanely passionate about what you do, it's going to show through your work.
That's true.
So rather than, kind of open myself to all avenues of potential income, I would rather do one thing the best of my ability than do two things that one's going to suffer. Because if I don't enjoy what I'm doing, it's going to show in my work at the end of the day. And, if you love piercing and you tattoo to help pay your bills, your piercings are going to be fucking flawless and your tattoos are going to be passable at best, essentially.
Well, that brings me back to the whole thing. If you are taking on stuff that you don't want to do as a tattoo artist, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be certain things you don't want to do. And it's, again, there's somebody out there that'll do it better. And if you decide to keep taking on these things and you're not 100% happy about it or stoked on it or whatever, you may not produce the best work that's on somebody forever, right? I mean, we're all guilty of it. It has happened. And yes, anybody who's going to watch this and, it's happened to you. I'm telling you, if you've got a few tattoos, more than one, it's probably fucking happened to you, man.
Man, so, I've got some on me.
I have some on me too. Trust me. Yeah.
That you can tell the artist was not stoked on doing. But at the end of the day, when it comes to piercing and tattooing and taking both on, I would rather do one service at a 5-star ability than do two services that one lacks. Because at the end of the day, if you're not equally as passionate and equally enjoying everything that you do, you cap yourself out at 3 stars. Because you might be a fucking amazing piercer or an amazing tattooer, and then the other service you do just to make money is always going to show through your work. And when that does show through your work, if you don't enjoy tattooing and you sit there and you're just doing it to get through it, that client's experience of having that tattoo done it's going to show. And, you're not going to be stoked and you're not going to be as personable and you're not going to make that client's experience the best that it possibly could be. So I would rather not make that fucking money and just do one thing really fucking well and direct the other services that client wants to somebody that
that 5-star rating
about it.
That 5-star rating you're going to get from being passionate about the one thing, that's going to reflect back on you, right? And that's going to bring you return clients, going to give you good reviews on Google, wherever, right? So that
and I mean,
you're basically doing yourself a favor, by doing a good fucking job.
You and I, we work in the same city. We work at 2 different shops.
Yep.
And again, if I tattooed, those people who come in when everybody else is busy, I could grind that out and get through that. Or I can just give them the piercings that they want and then point them to you, who's going to kill their fucking tattoo.
Yeah.
And they'll be stoked on it when it's done. Just the same as you tattoo and you send piercings to me all fucking day. And super appreciative of it. Thank you again for that.
Yeah, no worries, buddy.
Always appreciated. But
of course.
Exactly, you do what you do, you love what you do, and you try to direct clients to the best of your ability to somebody if you don't offer the service that they want that will crush what they want and they'll be super stoked on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, everybody's got to eat. And that's something that I feel like within this industry is it sucks, the cutthroat level of it, where it doesn't have to be that way. Everybody,
Dude,
we can work in the same city and everybody can get along, and refer
this has
people
been
to
this
other
has been
shops.
something that's been going on for the last fucking God knows how long in this city, since I've been
Forever.
in the tattooing world. But I find that it's only, I'm not going to say only in Barrie, but you go to the city and half the shops there, more than half the shops there, they don't fucking, they're not at each other's throat. They're, they
No,
don't
man.
fucking talk a lot of shit. And again, we've all been there. I've talked shit before about people. But then you realize afterwards, like, you're an idiot. Why are you doing this? It's not professional, blah, 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 right? But I just find that a lot of this, is in Barrie, man. Barrie's really bad for that. And it's not me per se. I'm just saying there's
Yeah.
everybody here. Like, this shop will make fun of this shop. This shop will talk shit about this one. And there's so many fucking shops here too. There's got to be 20 tattoo shops here, for fuck's sakes. And I don't think
There's a
any of them get
lot.
along. We get along. Like, I get myself, Hellfire, Kyle, my artist, and all that other shit.
Yeah.
We try to get along with everybody for the most part.
Yeah.
Not going to mention names, of course, but there's some people that I personally, don't respect in the industry, or, in this town, is what I'm saying. But I don't go and make it public and talk shit about them, because I think it's totally stupid.
The one thing that I really pride myself on is I don't openly speak ill of anyone, because at the end of the day, when you're a client or a consumer, it's branch outside of the whole piercing and tattooing thing. You might love Canadian Tire, I might love Princess Auto, and we can both go to different businesses and spend our money comfortably and get what we want, and everything be cool. Whereas
a Canadian Tire and Princess Auto don't need to talk shit about each other, right?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It blows my mind in this industry and city where people feel the need to talk shit about the guy up the road to boost themselves, whereas at the end of the day,
but it doesn't boost you.
I'm going to let my work speak for itself. If you come in and you feel comfortable with me, you're happy with the service that you got, and at the end of the day, you leave pleased with what you got, that's going to speak volumes. Whereas, the guy who's got to talk shit about the guy up the road, why are you trying so hard to convince your clients that you're so above and beyond, everybody else? At the end of the day, as long as you're providing a clean, safe, and sterile service, what matters is the fact that your client is happy, comfortable, and at the end of the day, they got a safe service.
Well, like you said too, you let your work speak for itself, right? So if you're bringing your A game, 100% of the time, hopefully 100% of the time, then it's going to be nothing but positive, right? And people have no reason to talk shit. And if they do, then that's their fucking insecurity. That's them trying to make themselves feel better, help them sleep better at night, whatever,
Well, exactly. And I mean, anybody who comes in, I don't need to talk shit about the guy down the road, because again, the work speaks for itself. I'm not trying to convince you that what I'm doing is amazing or great or this or that. It's, again, you come in, you get what you want, you're happy with it, it was provided to you safe, sterile, and in a manner that is going to heal well. Then if you checked all those boxes, you've done your job to the best of your ability. And if your client is happy, amazing. I don't care where you want to spend your money. It's yours.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you're happy
exactly.
with me, if you like to get pierced by me, you're happy with the service I provide, and you're happy with the end result, please come back, bring your friends, always appreciated.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, if you come in and, you know, we don't jive or you don't like my personality, you are absolutely more than welcome to go to any of the other shops in the city that are going to provide you, again,
Yeah.
as long as somebody's giving you a safe and sterile service that is not, putting your health at risk or in danger,
Like I
pick
always tell
whoever you
people
want.
that, man, like when people come in the shop and they're kind of nervous with the anxiety thing and they're not really, familiar with being around that type of environment all the time. So you got to make them feel at ease, right? I'm always forcing them to look at the wall. There is
Yeah,
my health. So there's my passes. There's everything. It's that everything's right there. All the certificates are on the wall. And we always frame them.
absolutely.
We always put them up at the front desk. It's kind of peace of mind for everybody, right? And
Yeah, man.
I find with me with tattooing, um, I'm always setting up in front of the person. Like I'm already like set up my base shit, but like cracking my needles open. I
Yeah.
always do that in front of the client. I'm always like, here you go, kind of sort of deal. And sometimes if they're like adamant on it, or if they're like staring at me with an
Hmm.
unsure look, I will show them like, here's the little tab. It's this color when it's sterile. It's whatever color when it's not sterile, kind of sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And the lot numbers, whatever, and everything's tracked, right? Like I don't know how you guys do it, but
I
we give
mean, me
people all those little
personally,
waivers, right?
I when somebody comes in to get a piercing done by me, I don't like to pre-sterilize jewelry. I would rather you come in, tell me what you want to get. I'll show you your options, show you your jewelry options, and then once you've picked out a piece that you like and that's the look that you want, right in front of you, before I ring you through, before I take your money, you're gonna watch me take that piece of jewelry, walk it into my sterilization room, which you've seen is a fishbowl.
Yep.
It's from the front counter. Everybody who's in the store can see exactly what's going on in that room. You're gonna watch me take that piece of jewelry you picked out,
Hmm.
bag it, put it in the autoclave, and run that Statum cycle on it. And yeah, while you fill out your waiver, your jewelry's being sterilized.
See that extra step right there, like having the fishbowl for a like a glass room essentially for people to
Mm-hmm.
see you do that. That's an extra step towards a peace of mind for that person to make them feel a little bit better. You know.
Exactly. And I feel like, by not pre sterilizing a lot of the jewelry, when you come in and you pick that out, you're not taking my word for it.
Well, I remember years
You're,
ago, we used to like you used to anyway with the jewelry. I remember under the counter, like you'd have like the counter or display cabinets and shit like that. That underneath you would have, you know, X amount of jewelry on display, right? For like let's say fancier shit or whatever. But then in your
yeah,
booth with your setups, you'd have your little compartments, but everything was pre-sterile. You know, you and I know it's
yeah, I
pre-sterile.
don't,
Clients don't really know, right? They just don't know. It's just in a package to them. They don't understand the whole, being put through an autoclave thing for the most part, right?
exactly. And that's something that I thoroughly enjoy is when people come in and, you pick that piece of jewelry out and you watch me take it
Yeah.
into that room, bag it, sterilize it, because now it's not a take my word for it. You're watching it happen. You're
Yeah.
watching that piece of jewelry go from, you know, in a display or, in like a stock baggie to being put into that sterilization pouch. You're watching it be
Yeah.
sterilized. And it doesn't necessarily take a hell of a lot more time out of the day because, I still run that, big autoclave, the Tuttenhours, um, for tools and stuff, even though,
Yeah.
I rarely use tools, but the Statum is a great tool for the piercing industry because, it's a smaller cartridge, it's smaller chamber. It gets the temperature faster. It it hits that sterilization note a lot faster than a lot of the other autoclaves with the larger chambers.
Yeah.
So, even though it takes 10 minutes to sterilize that piece of jewelry, you're now not only just giving that client peace of mind, but you're also kind of giving them a peek behind the curtain
Yeah.
where,
Little behind the scenes kind of sort of deal.
exactly, like they're getting a little bit more know-how and insight into what we do to keep them safe and to do what we do as clean as possible. And, when they see that, it's, I notice a lot with parents who bring their kids in to get pierced. When they see that piece of jewelry go in and get sterilized, they appreciate that. Where,
Absolutely. Well,
they're being
I
shown
remember
that.
you pierced my daughter's ear when she was what, one, not even one. I think, yeah.
I don't remember. I thought she was like,
No, she was little. I don't
yeah,
even think she was one yet, bro. But so
yeah. I think your daughter is the youngest person I ever pierced because normally I don't pierce anybody younger than the ability for that person to ask
but you know
for
what
what they
though?
want. But
I,
you and
I
I
I
work
would
together.
rather, yeah, I trusted you. I know what kind of
Yeah,
work you do. Um, Obviously working with you and knowing you, I know how clean you were, sterile with your practices and everything else.
for
And
sure.
you made my kid feel comfortable, as comfortable as she could at the age of one, we'll say, right? So I
Yeah,
mean, I can either do it that way, or I could have taken her to the mall and got a fucking piercing gun and shattered all that cartilage in her ear. And I'm sure sometimes they heal out just fine as people grow, but they're not sterile, they're not fully sterile in my opinion. And I'm kind
yeah.
of, I'm not against it, I just don't agree with it, I guess you could say, with the piercing guns and all that other shit. And I
Oh,
just,
for sure.
I've got my reasons, and obviously you're going to have more reasons because you know more about the piercing than I do, right?
Well, and
But
I mean, like, at this point in time, all the information is readily available to everybody. Um, even the health unit, they look at it and, you've got your best practices. And why would you not want a service done for your child at the highest
optimal level.
level of
Yeah.
quality and sterility and safety that it could be done?
Yep. So,
Yeah.
um, you working at Steel and Ink? You're running that place now, aren't you? Like your manager,
Yeah.
or yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Manage the shop, do the pure thing. Yeah.
that's good, man. How many locations they got now?
Right now, I believe 8.
Oh wow, eh?
Yeah.
That's quite a bit, bro. How long they been
Yeah.
open? Like the actual like
Um,
franchise itself, not just your shop.
I'm not 100% sure, but exactly how long the locations have been there. But they had the Sable Beach location, and one of the things that I really like and respect about this company, Steel and Ink, is they don't franchise it out. It's not something where you pay a due and you get to use the name. It's every location is owned by the same person and it's all run to the same standard. And, you know, the owner of the company and I, when we talked, when I came on board with the company, it was actually one of my old apprentices who put him and I in the same room,
Oh, cool.
who brought me on board. And, you know, Kyle, which you've met, um, Kyle was another person that, much like myself, was, you know, somebody that was passionate about piercing in the industry, and nobody was taking him seriously because of how young he was. And when I met Kyle, he was 15, which was exactly the same age I was when I got into the industry. And, you know, I saw a lot of myself in him, and saw people weren't taking him seriously. And, you know, at the end of the day, somebody took a chance on me, so I took a chance on him.
Yeah.
And it paid off. Guy turned out great piercer. And, many years down the road, he's the person that put me in the same room with Jamie, the guy who owns Steel and Ink.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean,
So do you
no,
feel, do you
I don't
feel
want to say it was
any,
like a paying it forward thing, but
no, but it's like a happy coincidence almost, eh?
yeah,
Or a
everything
happy
just
accident or whatever the fuck it's called, maybe.
yeah, the stars really aligned. And, you know, at the end of the day, Kyle and I hadn't spoken in a couple of years, and he reached out to me. I wasn't happy with where I was, and yeah, they just had an opportunity. And Jamie and I really saw eye to eye with our opinions of what we wanted to see in a shop.
Mhm.
And you know, I was lucky enough that he really, I mean, he rolled the dice on me on Kyle's word.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't know him well.
I guess that's pretty much what it is at the end of the day for everything though, is right? Just kind of fucking taking the shot on people, right? You got to get a good read
Well,
on people.
exactly. At the end of the day, every aspect of this industry is just, do you see eye to eye with the person you're going into business with? Like, I mean, look at you and Kyle.
Fuck that guy. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Kyle. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, me and Kyle, great, man. I love that guy to death. He's my bro.
Exactly. And, like, at the end of the day, when you're going into business with somebody, you want to know that that's somebody that reflects your standpoint, and how you feel about the industry.
Mhm. So
And when you click with somebody like that, that's your recipe for success right there. Is, everybody's got to be on the same page, everybody's got to have the same outlook, you all got to be looking in the same direction. And when it works, it's fucking amazing. Great things happen.
yeah, man. Like with me and Kyle, it was great. Like I had my shit with Unique, and
Yeah,
I parted ways with those boys, and I did my thing. I had Ian Miller, the owner of Endeavor. I reached out to him, and he opened up his doors for me and my apprentice at the time. To come and work there for a little bit while I got my shit together and figured out what I wanted to do. And
yeah.
again, thank you very much, Ian, if you're watching this, man. Um, but anyway, lots of respect for him, right? And then
Ian,
I knew Kyle from before, but because he actually came into Unique a couple years before that, or a few years before that. This was before he worked at Endeavor, and
yeah,
we were going to work together back then. And then things just didn't, you know, fall into place. They just did other things, right? So anyway, when I went to Endeavor, that's when I basically met Kyle, met Kyle, and worked with him and stuff. And
yeah,
then I met Jamie, and all this other shit. And I knew at that point I was going to open another shop. I just didn't know when, I didn't know where, I didn't know how, I didn't know anything. I just knew I was going to
yeah,
open another shop. And at that time, I only wanted a smaller studio. And then, long story short, after some conversations, me and Kyle, we had the conversation with each other, and it just came down to, you know what, let's fucking do it together. Let's open a shop. And then, we had a baby, and here comes Hellfire, kind of sort of deal. Right.
Exactly.
And,
you and him had a mutual understanding and outlook, and
yeah, we're always going to have
passion.
We're going to have our disagreements, just like every other business partner or a couple or whatever, right? It's the same shit. We're basically in a fucking business marriage here, and pretty much. But yeah, man, like you're always going to have your little differences.
Like that.
But everything works out though, right? Like he kind of understands for the most part where I sit. I understand where he sits, with the business. He's got his responsibilities.
Exactly.
I got mine. And we just, again, there's going to be differences, and, who gives a fuck? But at the end of the day, he's my brother, and, I would fucking do anything for that guy. And, if it came down to it, I would rather part ways with my business or fold my business than fold a friendship with him, and that's, you got to have, if you're going to go into business for somebody or with somebody, you've got to have that trust, that relationship and stuff. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So,
yeah, at the end of the day, like you said, the business partnership and, your outlooks and your understanding and your drive and your passion and your direction. Yeah, you guys, everybody's going to have disagreements. Everybody's going to have hiccups and bumps. And
oh yeah, well, that's how you learn, right?
At the end of the day, what's important is you both have the same outlook and direction and desire to provide the same thing.
Yeah, the only difference is there's a few years experience with tattooing between us, so he's still like hungry. He wants he's a fucking workhorse, man. I'm not a workhorse anymore with tattooing anyway. I've taken a step back and focusing on other shit as well at the same time, but he's a fucking go-getter, man. He's pushing. I'm proud of that guy.
Man, that's
maybe I'll get him in here as a podcast one day.
Yeah, you should.
I should. that would be that'd be pretty exciting.
For sure.
We'd have to censor that thing.
That's one of those things that I've always kind of prided myself on was, again, next month will be 19 years, and I still am just as hungry as I was when I was 15, 16, 17. I'm still just as passionate about what I do and just as stoked every time somebody comes in and wants something done, where, I still look at it as, these people have plenty choices and plenty options and places that they could go. And the fact that so many people trust me with, their bodies and what they want is fucking amazing. And, at the end of the day, if people didn't like the work that I do or trust me with what they want, I wouldn't be able to wake
broke.
up.
You'd be fucking
right?
broke.
I wouldn't be able to wake up every day and go to work and do this thing that I fucking love, that I'm lucky enough to be able to wake up every day and go in and still do this. And
it's a unique lifestyle, eh?
Yeah,
and you know what's crazy is that I was speaking to Chris Smith about this too briefly. Was when at the beginning of our careers, we were super hungry. We were constantly partying. We were younger. It was strip clubs. It was cocaine. It was beer. It was you name it. It was drugs. I'm not saying for you. Shut up. And then and now
yourself as much as you want.
and
do not drag me down the rabbit hole with you.
Your mom's watching, isn't she? No,
she might be. Do not drag me down this rabbit hole.
Okay.
I am a fucking wholesome gentleman.
Okay, so for Brock, it was chocolate milk, it was potato chips, and it was bottles of water at the bar.
Yep, and that's why I got to do keto now, because those fucking chocolate milk and potato chips caught up with me.
So good. But then it led to us, like, getting older and shit. I almost lost my train of thought because of this whole thing. Thanks, Brock. But we're still we're X amount of years in, you know, we're getting older
Yeah,
and stuff. And it's amazing to see and to speak with my buddies and friends and people I don't even know, just fellow artists and shit that everybody's still just as hungry. Right. And,
for
like
sure.
I'm just as hungry too when I'm tattooing, you know, and I can't like, I have a huge passion for this industry. I always will, and it's never going to go away. You know, it's
For
just,
sure.
you know, you just got to make room. I'm finding for other things. And not every artist is going to agree with me, but I feel like I need to make room for other things, but I'm never going to turn my back on tattooing, man. I'm just as hungry to
Yeah.
start new designs, new shit, new clients, a new day, you know, get in there and kick the shit out of it and grab it by the fucking hips and fuck it right up the butt, right? Like that's how I look at every day when I'm trying to go in and tattoo, you know. But
Well, and this whole quarantine and pandemic thing, um, not to, circle back on it, but
no, it's all good.
it was a real fucking eye opener when everybody got shut down, and I'm sitting at home wondering how the fuck am I gonna pay my rent, my car, my bills.
Yeah.
And during that shutdown, I went out and got a job at at a factory um, that will remain nameless,
Yep.
but
That's fine.
it was an essential factory, and I was going to work, you know, Monday to Friday, breaking my fucking back for 8 hours a day minimum, and with
Dude, that must have been an eye
jobs,
opener, right? That alone right there, realizing like what we have.
absolutely. And after, I will never forget how I felt after my first shift there. When at the end of the day, I realized, how long I was there and how hard that work was, and that this is a job that even now that things have reopened, there are still people in that factory that's what they do
8 hours a fucking day,
every
bro.
fucking day for 8 hours a day minimum. That's their career. That's what they do.
Yeah, bro.
And I never have tried to take what I have for granted. And I've always been appreciative of the fact that I can wake up every day and go to work and do something that I love and that I'm passionate about. But
Yeah, not saying that
at the
any of these folks that work at factories
oh
fucking hate
no,
their job. Most likely some of them fucking do because the majority of people do hate their job. But it just goes to show the dedication and the hard work that the average person has to have for those average, like not average jobs. I'm not down talking it. You know what I'm saying? No, right? That's not unique like the tattoo industry, piercing industry, shit
hmm
like that, right? That's
and
our industry's like over here by itself, and then you got everything else over here, you know?
it was the first time since I was 15 years old that I did a job because I had to, not because I loved to.
Hmm.
And it was a real fucking eye opener. And, like I said, I've never taken what I do for granted. I've always been stoked that, I have the opportunity to go in to work every day and love what I do.
Hmm.
But when that quarantine shutdown happened, it was like a re up on my outlook, where it was just like, that reminder of how fucking good we've got it,
Yeah,
and the
bro.
fact that we can wake up every day and do something we're passionate about and something that we love and pays our bills. And, at the end of the day, we can be happy that this is what we get to do, instead of having to do a job because you need to
Yeah.
survive. And it was it was just like a little smack in the fucking face reminder
Oh yeah.
of, how good we've got it.
Dude, that
to be able to do
fucking
this every day.
yeah. When they announced the shutdown, I'm not gonna lie, I was fucking scared shitless, man. Um, our business was basically fresh, like a year into
Yeah,
it, right? And I was worried at the beginning, man. And I spoke with Kyle, and both of us as new business owners and stuff, we were both kind of like, "What the fuck are we gonna do?" So we both basically
yeah,
just tackled the situation as hard as we could, finding information and covering our asses and covering our artists too. We did not want our artists to starve, and keep our doors open, man. We
for
did not
sure.
want to shut our doors after a fucking year because of some goddamn pandemic. I mean, like if we had to, we had to, but thankfully we did not. And our landlords and stuff, they were very understanding, and I'm sorry to those who do not have those fucking understanding landlords, but we were one of the fortunate ones, and it all worked
Absolutely.
out. Everything was good, and we're still standing, we're still operating now. Obviously, we're kicking ass, and it's
For
good,
sure.
but it was definitely fucking scary at the beginning, man. And especially someone with 3 kids and stuff like that, and a family at home, and Kyle's got
Yeah,
a few kids and a wife at home, and it's brutal, man. Not to mention all the
for sure.
artists and their family and shit, man. It's fucking scary shit. But you've got people south of us in their second shutdown. I've got
Yep.
a guest I'm doing a podcast with coming up here shortly, that's on their second shutdown, and I
Hmm.
plan to talk to him about that too, man. And it's probably taking a toll mentally, obviously financially, mentally, and just everything. It's got to fuck with you, and we're thankful enough not to have a second shutdown yet, right?
Yeah. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. But for some fucked up reason, I think it's coming, and and I'll tell you why I think it's
Don't
coming.
you put that fucking evil out there.
Well, I'm gonna have to, because it's a sad reality, and I personally think it's because of the south of us is all fucking shut down, and it's Christmas shopping needs to get finished. We're coming up on Christmas now, so all of them are coming to Newmarket, Barrie, Aurelia. They're coming to
Yeah.
Walmart, they're coming to Costco, they're getting that shit done, and I personally think it's either A, going to spread up here because of that, um, and then they'll just end up shutting down, like mid-December area, right in time for these big fucking corps. I'm not going to get into politics, but just in time for them to make some money before they fucking say, you know what, you're hooped, we're putting the fucking locks on the doors, beat it, kind of sort of deal, right? And then we're going to go on lockdown probably for another 28 days. I hope it doesn't happen, but I personally think it's going to happen.
Fingers crossed it does
That's right.
not.
That's right. But who knows, man? I could be wrong. I
Hmm.
could be wrong. I really don't know. But
Hopefully you're wrong. I don't want to do that again.
yeah, no shit, right? I get like a lot of you guys can go on for fucking hours, and it's great, and I could sit here and talk and catch up and shoot the shit with everybody. And it's
Yeah,
awesome, man. So
for sure.
let me know if you want to sit down again sometime. And I'm actually gonna do. I'm gonna see if some people want to do, instead of a one-on-one, we'll add like a third or fourth person in here, and we'll all make fun of each other and put that out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should. Fuck, I was kind of thinking this earlier because of you and Chris and stuff. Maybe me, you, Chris, Graham, Jesse, Brian, whoever can just
Oh
have like a
man,
whole mess of motherfuckers on this screen and just have an old fucking reunion from back in the day with everybody. And
that would be nuts.
right,
I honestly don't think all of us have been in the same room in the last 10 years
no,
at the same time.
no, I know, isn't it crazy? But I think
Yeah.
it's got to happen, man. I think I should try and arrange it. I should.
Yeah, man. If you get it going, I'm in.
Yeah, I know. I know Jesse James would be in for sure. Chris will be down. I'm not sure
Yeah.
about the other boys, even if it's only a few of us. Whatever, man. I think that would be. I think that would be pretty rad.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but all right, brother. Well, until next time, man. I'll talk to you shortly. Thanks
For sure,
for doing
man.
this with me, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right, brother.